something called the art of fighting without fighting.
Hi and welcome back to Kung Fu Shrimp. In this video, I want to tackle one of the most common questions I get asked. What can I keep with my mantis shrimp? First, a quick disclaimer. All the advice in this video is based on my personal experience keeping a peacock mantis shrimp. What I have found to work for me and Bruce may not be the case with other mantis shrimp, so please, I don't want anyone blaming me because their mantis shrimp killed their favourite fish. Finally, if you enjoy this video and want to keep up with all Bruce's adventures, please hit that subscribe button. We recently reached 400 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. The fact that anybody watches these videos still amazes me, so for anyone who's taken the time to subscribe, I just wanted to say a huge thank you from Bruce and I. With that out of the way, let's get on with the show. The question of what you can safely keep with a mantis shrimp is another one where you'll get a lot of different answers depending on who you ask. For many people, it will be a simple nothing. Mantis shrimp are savages and they're likely to kill any other animal that you house with them. This is certainly the advice I was given when I first purchased Bruce. However, after doing some research of my own, as well as taking a few risks along the way, I've found that it's been possible, for me at least, to keep several tank mates alongside Bruce without a bloodbath ensuing. The first clue that Bruce might not have to live alone actually came early on and was born from necessity. When I initially saw Bruce sitting in my local fish store and fell in love, the question of how quickly I could get a tank set up for him was forefront in my mind. After quick cycling the tank using bacteria, I still wanted to be sure it was stable before adding Bruce, so I decided to add a cheap fish that I thought would make sure the aquarium was fully cycled, as well as providing a snack for Bruce upon his arrival. However, after introducing Bruce, I quickly discovered that he showed no interest in the fish, and they lived together happily for almost a year. This relationship only ended because Bruce's first tank was fairly small, and as the fish and Bruce began to grow, I struggled to maintain water quality, so I made the decision to remove the fish to reduce the bioload. At this point, I realised that maybe the advice I was initially given, that these critters had to be kept in a species-only tank, may have been wrong, and I started researching as much as I could to try and understand what might be possible. The first thing I found is that although mantis shrimp are deadly predators, they're also fairly specialised in their preferred prey. In the case of Bruce, who's a peacock mantis shrimp, this meant their primary prey was mollusks and crustaceans, and as such, I felt relatively confident that as long as Bruce was kept well fed, he was unlikely to see a fish as a food source. Just because Bruce is unlikely to hunt fish, however, does not mean I would put any fish in with him. When it came time to choose tank mates for his new home, I stuck to certain criteria which I hoped would improve the chances of everyone's survival. The first was that they should be active swimmers, meaning that they're always up and about and don't make a habit of perching on rocks or even worse, sitting on the sand, as I felt this would just be too tempting for Bruce. Next, I didn't want anything too large. There were two reasons for this. Firstly, I was still conscious of the bioload in the tank, and bigger fish equals bigger bioload. Secondly, a bigger fish is a bigger target. They tend to be less manoeuvrable than a smaller fish and have less places to hide if Bruce comes after them. And the final and most important consideration was price. Although I'm fairly happy I have limited the chance of the worst happening, I'm always aware that Bruce is more than capable of killing anything he takes a dislike to, and I always operate under the assumption that any animal I put in Bruce's tank may end up as a snack at any time. Currently in Bruce's tank, I have two fish, a Fiji Blue Devil damselfish and a 6-line wrasse. I did also have a Royal Dottyback, but unfortunately I lost it when it jumped out the tank after being hounded by the two other fish, who were both fairly belligerent psychopaths. I would still like to add one more, as I like the idea of a trio of fish as a crew for Bruce. However, I'm struggling to find something that can hold its own with the other two. The tank has now been up and running for almost a year, And touch wood, I've still not seen any overt aggression from Bruce to any of his tank mates, despite the damsel being very daring when it comes to snatching food from right under his nose. Other than fish, I've also experimented with keeping a variety of critters with Bruce. Most of these fall under the category of cleanup crew, whose primary job is to keep algae in the tank in check, as well as eating any leftover food hanging around. These are a lot harder to keep alive, as they do fall into the category of prey, in the form of crabs and snails. Although these are all on the menu, at this point I've introduced most of the common crabs and snails, and have definitely found that some fare far better than others. For crabs, I tend to stick to small algae hermits. Under a certain size, Bruce does not seem to show much interest, and they're good active cleaners and are relatively cheap. For snails, I've found spiny astrias to hold up the best. Although Bruce will hunt them, he doesn't seem able to get through their shells as easily as others, and I'll often rescue them unharmed from the entrance of his cave. Most other species I've tried are only left in fragments once Bruce is finished with them. I tend to top both of these up every couple of months to try and maintain a decent level in the tank. I did have one other tank mate, which was the most unexpected success I've had, in the form of a decorator crab. This was actually introduced as a treat for Bruce, however, the two came to an understanding I never would have expected. If you'd like to see that whole bizarre story, I'll link to my video on it below. So that's a brief rundown of the animals I keep alongside Bruce and why I chose them. I hope it's helpful to anyone considering keeping one of these amazing animals, but please remember, never put anything in with a mantis shrimp you're not prepared to lose. You can take all the precautions in the world, but these are intelligent predators with a fearsome arsenal. There's not much they can't kill if they put their minds to it. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep up with all Bruce and the boys' adventures, please do hit that subscribe button. I can't help dreaming, but the 1000 subscriber mark doesn't seem as impossible as it once did. And as always, thanks for watching.